So I'm printing something here on my Ender 3 Pro, and I've been having some issues with under extrusion as of late, mainly due to the stock style extruder, the one with a single gear and an idler on the other side of that gear. My filament was always slipping on that style. It was just a simple spring that had some tension, and it was never really very good at shoving filament through the Bowden tube. But I have since upgraded to this. This is a BMG clone from FYSETC. Now, typically speaking, I really don't recommend buying a knockoff, especially when Bondtech did a really good job making their product, and I don't think they had any intentions of anyone copying them, but they're a victim of their own success in this situation because, man, they designed a really good system with dual hob gears that really grips filament, and there are so many Chinese clones of this design, and although they print theirs on a 3D printer with nylon and have very, very well machined gears, this one is made out of all metal, and you might equate metal with being a better material to use than plastic for a load-bearing part or a part that's heavily functional. It's up for debate in that sense, because metal in this particular application does have some downfalls, but we're not really here to debate the ethics of using a clone, especially when there's a lot of clones out there that are really, really bad. But I figured this was worth talking about. This BMG is mostly metal. The housing, the gears, everything that is functional is metal. Now, it's just aluminum with some black anodized coating on it, or it's anodized coating. I don't know if it... Well, you get the point. So this uses a 3-to-1 gear reduction ratio, so it's the motor, the stepper motor right here is turning over 3 times as much to move the filament the same distance, because the idea is that it's using that reduction as a way to create more torque, because these dual gears that are inside of here grip very, very hard, and that's important for plastics like Ninja Flex, for instance, which are very difficult to grab onto. They're very squishy. That being said, I've mainly used this for just PLA or PETG, and it's done a fantastic job with both. You can get these on AliExpress for about $25 from FYSETC. They used to be available on Amazon, but if you look on Amazon, you'll see there's been a mass exodus of any clones of the BMG design from Bondtech. My best guess is Bondtech finally had enough and started reporting them as unauthorized reproductions on Amazon, which, if that's the case, you know what, good on Bondtech. They, despite this being hypocritical, they really do deserve whatever money they're selling them for. They're about $70 for theirs. 'Cause, man, like I said, they really are a victim of their own success, and I was really just curious to see how this design would work. Now, these used to sell on Amazon for $50 each, these clones, which is just not that far off from the actual Bondtech itself. But on AliExpress, this is less than 30. It was 25 with some express shipping. It took a few weeks to get here, and it was not assembled in such a way that was usable, and it didn't come with any instructions, and you bet your butt there's no support whatsoever from the company to try and fix any issues you might have. So you're really on your own with this particular product. But the design works. And ultimately, it's one of those things where if there's an option to try a design and see if it works for a lower price, rather than just going full out and getting the name brand version, I think a lot of people are going to do that. And even on eBay, there is a large number of listings that have just disappeared. Anything to do with a cloned BMG just is gone, and the only things that are left are the genuine ones from Bondtech. again, I actually applaud Bondtech for this because if they're the ones, behind this saying, hey, these guys are making unauthorized reproductions of our intellectual property, that's totally fair. But I do have to give credit to FYSETC for this particular thing, because although it's very similar in design, there are some distinct differences in its assembly and its shape and the way everything is put together. It is slightly different than the one from Bondtech, and that has to do with the fact that this is made out of metal, and there's things about that have to be different than an SLS printed nylon version. So internally, it's a little different. It uses the same concept and mechanism, but its design is just tailored to the metal fabrication of the unit. So I don't know if that truly constitutes some sort of exclusion. I don't think it's nearly different enough at a patent standpoint to be viable and say, hey, this is a different product. Pretty sure it's still violating whatever copyright, or not copyright, but patents that BMG may have, or I'm sorry, Bondtech may have in regards to their BMG extruder. I've had this for a few days now, and it is a little finicky at first, and that mainly has to do with that little knob right there that provides tension between the gears on the inside that are gripping the filament. But, for a Chinese clone, it's doing pretty good. I'm stuck in this weird position where, I just can't endorse a ripoff if it's not legal, in the sense that they're not supposed to be making them, but they're so widely available and people are just talking about it. People are openly discussing it everywhere on the internet. And I haven't actually seen any official statements from Bondtech, and it's only speculation, but if you were looking at a clone, good luck, because you may only be able to get it from China from now on, directly from sites like AliExpress or Wish or something, and even then, there's legislation being passed to try and moderate sites like that to prevent blatant ripoffs and clones or unauthorized reproductions or fakes. Typically that has to do more with things like apparel that are using another company's name, like Nike, for instance, their shoes and such. This product does not say Bondtech anywhere on it. It doesn't claim to be a Bondtech product. It explicitly states that it is a FYSETC BMG extruder. Does that make a difference? I don't know. But I think this is an interesting discussion that at some point I'm going to do, hopefully, a deeper dive into. But I thought this was interesting to talk about nevertheless.